Good afternoon and welcome to another podcast. Today we'll be discussing the race from IndyCar that happened on Saturday, and then we'll go into discuss a few more things about that stuff. But first of all, welcome back. Thanks for all the support. It's been great so far. In terms of uploads, at the moment, while I'm still off work, I don't know, it'll probably be twice a week. I'm hoping for Tuesday, Thursday, but we'll see how it goes. It might be getting back into work soon, so we'll have to see what we can do with schedules and stuff. So just a quick brief talk on IndyCar, and for those of you who don't know, IndyCar is basically America's top single-seater championship. Races all through America and Canada. It's been going for about 25 years now. I think it started about 1996. And you'll find a lot of drivers that move through the American single-seater platform that will go forward and racing it. You'll find a few sports car racers racing it, and you'll find a few F1 refugees racing it as well. At the moment we've got Marcus Ericsson and Max Chilton, Alexander Rossi, drivers like that. The race is held over predominantly in America. It's basically a spec series, which we'll get onto in a second. It's quite a mixture of circuits, and including one of the most famous races, the Indianapolis 500, which of course Fernando Alonso entered a couple of years ago, and will be looking to enter again to repeat to earn the prestigious Triple Crown. It's the only race out of the three: the Monaco Grand Prix, the Indianapolis 500, and the Le Mans 24 that he has not won yet. So it'll be definitely returning to that. And of course, McLaren have got their hands into it now, racing a two-car team, McLaren Arrows, and Ferrari have sort of looked at it and other stuff. Why is it such a popular series? Well, it's F1 have not really been that present in America for quite a while, so they've had really their own series. It's been around for ages, you know. So many big name drivers have raced it: Nigel Mansell, Mario Andretti. It's incredibly popular, and of course, with the Indianapolis 500 being on the calendar, it's one of the most prestigious championships out there. I'd say it's probably the second biggest single-seater championship outside of Formula 1, which is why you see a lot of big name drivers racing it. You're looking at about 22 to 25 car field normally. For the Indy 500, they have 33 entrants, so a lot more people can enter and join in, which is why you see guest drivers and stuff. The chassis, the cars are all specs, so they're all exactly the same cars, built by l3lur, which is a big chassis manufacturer over there in the States. They also do other stuff like LMP2 and loads of other single-seater cars that they make over there. They've been pretty much building the cars for many years, pretty much since the championship started. Very popular, very good chassis. The only difference is aero packaging. So if they're on road courses, what they call, if they're on normal circuits with left and right turns, they'll run a more downforce package. If they're on ovals like Indianapolis or at Texas, where they were at the weekend, they will run less aerodynamic packages on the cars, but everyone gets exactly the same. The only difference is the engine supplier. So there's two engine suppliers, Chevrolet and Honda, kind of classing as make. If you go through the website and stuff, and you look at past champions and stuff, they will class Chevrolet and Honda as sort of makes champions, so they do like a little championship for them, so you know whether Chevrolet or Honda will win. You'll find that it's about 50-50 uses of the engines in the championship, so a lot of cars will run Chevrolet, but a lot of cars will run Honda as well, so it's quite a bit of a mix. Of course, Fernando Alonso ran a Honda engine, which of course gave out on him when he raced it Indy. They are 2.2 litre turbocharged V6s, so you get a lot more power. You're looking at about 500-700 horsepower out of them. But again, they are the same engine, so if you're in Honda or Chevrolet, they are the same engine. So it is definitely a spec series. Of course, all the cars are the same. Everyone's on the same tyres, built and run by Firestone. And it's pretty much the same. The cars have recently updated a new safety spec, so they've run in the Red Bull challenged, Red Bull sort of designed windscreen sort of. They're still kind of their own, but they got it initially from Red Bull, the idea. It makes the cars, I mean, they're not the best looking cars, but they are a lot better looking than Formula 1 cars. Probably the best looking single seater at the moment, with all the other championships in Europe and around Formula 1 opting to use the Halo, which, okay, fine, is a safety device, it should be there. Of course, we've seen many reasons why it should be there, but it just looks awful and it feels to me rushed. I've probably spoke about it before, but the screen on these on the cars look really good. These Indy cars look fantastic. They really are good looking cars, and they're wicked fast. 220, 230 miles an hour at Indy when they're qualifying. So let's talk a bit about the race then. I've of course watched IndyCar a few times, quite a bit. I always watch the Indy 500. It's a fantastic race. If you've not seen it, definitely go and check it out. I'm not saying that's stuff like that is why I don't watch other races. But again, I've got Formula 1, so it's a different thing. So I'm in Europe, so I watch Formula 1 rather than if I was in America, I probably would watch IndyCar more or go to a race. But I haven't had the opportunity to do that. I know the championship, I know the drivers that have been in it, and the races are quite good. Of course, the field is a lot closer because it's a spec series, same as Formula E. They all run in the same cars, but I just watch Formula 1 because I have watched Formula 1. I've grown up watching Formula 1. Now, of course, as I said before, the championship runs on two different types of circuits: normal circuits and ovals, which of course are quite predominant in the States and run mostly for NASCAR. I'm not saying that IndyCars shouldn't run in ovals because they produce fantastic races. I mean, the Indianapolis 500 is probably the best race on the calendar. It's a great race. I love watching it. But that circuit really works. It's a different type of circuit. It's more of a square. It's a lot larger. It's a lot of history, a lot of prestige behind it. You really get into it. Whereas the Texas circuit that they ran for the 200 lap race on Saturday, I don't know, it just wasn't that exciting. It just didn't seem to me that exciting. I didn't watch all the race. I watched most of it. I watched about 3/4 of it, and I just wasn't that into it. I watched it because there was nothing. Honestly, I'll be honest now. I watched it because there was nothing else on, and I was excited to watch some racing, and I really wanted to watch something. So I thought, okay, we'll watch this and put it on and see how we go. Luckily, a lot of motorsports are returning in the next month or so that'll be good. But I just didn't get into it. I just didn't find it that exciting. I didn't think there was that much in terms of overtakes. I just didn't think it was an exciting circuit. Indy is so much larger than Texas, so much larger than that circuit. There's so much space. There's more in terms of using the toe and overtaking, so you can overtake more, whereas Texas is a lot smaller. I just didn't find it that interesting. But that was just me personally. I'm sure it is quite popular over there. That's why they run oval circuits. There's a few on the calendar. If you go and have a look on their website, you can have a look at the full calendar yourself. Well, for me, I just didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't that good. Then we move on to the promotional side of things, so how they do things over in America is a little different to us, of course. With Formula 1 now, we have live uninterrupted races, no breaks, no ads. You get the commentary team there the whole time. In this race, they cut to a break after like 5 laps. After 5 laps, they cut to an advert break. I mean, what the hell's that about? The racing's only just starting. You're like, well, it's boring. First couple of laps, so we'll just put an advert on. I'm sure there's a reason behind everything, but for me being not like a first-time viewer, but a new sort of viewer to it, I just didn't find it. I was just so confused. It should have been a live uninterrupted race. It's 200 laps. They can do a lap in about 30 seconds. You might as well just keep it going. But I guess it's down to adverts and sponsorship, and I guess championships at the moment are looking for more sponsors and money because of not being able to race and everything. But I feel like that would happen anyway, so I don't understand why they did that. So that really confused me. I just found it boring, so I was like, oh, should I really watch this? They've just literally cut to an advert, and it was like it wasn't just a one-time thing. It was every sort of 20 or 30 laps. Go, well, with the ad break, let's cut the racing for a minute. And it was just that you get so excited to get ready in the race, and then you just oh, well, it's off of it. And that was another thing that kind of screwed it for me. It wasn't even the most exciting race, really. So there was a couple of factors. Do I find the racing close? Yeah, it was close-ish. I feel the racing could have been a lot closer on Indy or other normal racing circuits. People were getting lapped quite quickly in the race, so there was definitely a difference between the top speed runners and the low speed runners. Of course, there were a few rookies in the race, which I think some of them have never even raced there before, so I guess there's that as well. What I think of the cars, I think the cars are really good. I think they look cool, they sound cool. It's nice to see different levels of sponsorship and liveries and stuff like that you can come out of it, because of course they do it slightly different over there. So teammates don't usually run the same livery like they do in Formula 1, where you see the 2 Ferraris running identical liveries. In this, if you have a team of 3 or 4 cars, they can run 3 or 4 different liveries because they've got different sponsorships, because they need that extra money. So I find that quite exciting and interesting. But apart from stuff like that, and the sound, of course, it just didn't really grab me, and I guess I should give it another chance. I should watch another race. Of course, I've watched Indy many times and I've enjoyed that, so maybe I should try and watch a couple of maybe a street circuit race or a normal racing circuit. They race at Sonoma or something. I could maybe go and watch that one and see what I think of that. But for me, the Texas race just wasn't that interesting. I just wasn't that excited about it. There are a number of reasons, and I'll state them all on Twitter and stuff, but just basic stuff like that, just cutting to adverts and and just the sheer boring of the circuit. Not that I find ovals particularly boring, because you can have fantastic races there, like you can see in NASCAR, but I just don't think short track ovals, so smaller oval racing circuits, would suit Indy cars. And then you got to look at health and safety and danger as well. I mean, these cars are going up to 200 miles an hour right next to each other in single seaters. It's pretty crazy for that amount of time, and the accidents that can come out of that we've seen in the past. I know the sport is incredibly safe and they wouldn't race there if they weren't allowed to, but for me it just seems a bit strange. And that's my opinion as a European. Not really my seeing that, but I will give it another go. I will watch it, another race. Do I recommend the series to people? Yeah, I do. If you're a fan of Formula 1, definitely go check it out, because you'll know a few drivers in it. The racing won't be too much different to Formula 1. It might be easy to follow. This is sort of the thing I might cover in a future podcast, talking about why Formula 1 should look down IndyCar's route. But at the moment, I'm looking forward to the Formula 1 season starting again and seeing some maybe closer racing. I don't know. Mercedes will probably run away with it, but fingers crossed we don't see that. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to go check it out, IndyCar, go check on their website. Go check on their social media pages. Go and have a look at some of their past races on YouTube. And give it a chance. Don't let my opinion sway your own ideas of the championship and the sport. And it is a great sport, but it should be given a fair chance. But like I said, that particular race wasn't for me, so I'll have to have a look and go back and maybe rewatch some highlights of the race just to see if anything sparks interest. But at the moment, nothing. Hopefully there'll be another podcast out at the end of the week. I'll probably be talking about the new Project Cars 3 game and what I want personally as a viewer and audience and gamer from a racing video game. And I'll probably talk more when more motorsports season starts again. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.